Ever wondered what it would be like to live above the clouds? Hey people, voice talking to you, and this is Aloft, a multiplayer open-world survival crafting adventure game set amid an archipelago of floating sky islands. If heights don't scare you and you'd like to check this game out for yourself, I'll have a link for you down in the description where you can download it and try it out for free. You'll also find a link down there to my Twitch channel in case you'd like to see my first impressions of these games live on stream. In this game, we play as a funky-looking sky person whose goal is to so there used to be a bunch of people living on these floating islands, and then they, so now we're, so there's these mushroom people, and we want to exterminate them, I think.
Mushroom Man!
And then leave the archipelago and go somewhere, I guess. In terms of story, we have no story. Or at least not anything remotely comprehensible. Mostly Aloft dumps us into a cave filled with old wrecked boats and moldy crates and says, go play. That isn't to say there won't be a story in the finished version, but the lack of any thematic or narrative hooks here makes me think they might not have it figured out yet. While I understand pretty much nothing of this world definitively, I can tell you my own theories, since there are some conclusions to be drawn from environmental storytelling and a couple of extremely vague pictographs. Either there used to be a heroic cast of people that made use of glider technology and helped establish human civilization on the Sky Islands, or our coming was foretold long ago in the old prophecies. Judging by the wreckage found just about everywhere, there were numerous sky sailor types that made use of flying ships to travel between islands. I found houses, giant seaweed plants, and even some light industry alongside a ton of nautical-themed wreckage. I'm assuming either the Sky Islanders were descended from sailors, or the Sky Islands used to be sea islands somewhere before whatever happened. And now there is this fungal corruption that takes hold of islands, turns them into spore-choked wastes, and spawns sentient mushroom people. Our goal seems to be partially to eradicate these fungal growths and to restore the biodiversity of the islands, if for no reason other than to remove the briars blocking off the loot. Now, don't let the lackluster storytelling turn you away just yet, because that's actually this game's weakest link. Visually, the world of Aloft is extremely impressive. The islands are a mix of fantastical and familiar plants as well as mundane rocks and windstones run through with veins of glowing blue. The ruins of buildings and ships are covered in massive barnacles and give a marvelous impression of scale. Most striking are the vast open spaces amid the sea of clouds marked by massive whirlwinds, all leaning towards the center of the archipelago where a maelstrom the size of a mountain turns tirelessly. As odd as it may sound to say it, aside from the storms, I've actually seen environmental styles quite similar to this in multiple different games dating back over several years. Even the mushroom-infested islands aren't anything I haven't seen before. Now, just because the graphics aren't super unique doesn't mean they aren't really attractive. In fact, my only real critique when it comes to the graphics is a general lack of variety, which is certainly not an uncommon issue, especially for open-world games. Here, though, it is a noticeable issue, as the small size of most islands and the lack of major landmarks make it hard to tell where you've already been and takes away from the enjoyment of exploration, which is a major selling point for open-world games, and this game in particular. Now, I know I already said wide open spaces were impressive, but there isn't a whole lot to each island once you reach it, and there aren't a ton of islands to begin with, so the world still feels a bit empty. Though the game often tends towards quiet and peaceful, the music that occasionally fills the silence is the perfect mix of relaxing and inspirational. Artsy stuff aside, let's dig into the gameplay because that's where the real meat of this game is. This is, of course, a survival crafting game, so gathering materials to craft new items is obviously a core mechanic. The animations for swinging around tools and weapons are buttery smooth and surprisingly varied, though some items like old crates don't make a sound when striking them with an axe. Unlike a lot of other survival games, Aloft includes combo elements or mini-games into just about every mechanic, from combat to crafting to even chopping down trees. When swinging a tool, a dial at the bottom of the crosshair will swing towards a marked zone. Timing your next swing when the needle reaches the zone will chain another swing into your combo. Beneath the player's health meter is a number of white blocks called momentum charges. Frankly, I don't understand exactly how this works, but when chaining combos together, these blocks fill up, increasing our overall damage, I think. That, or we're limited in our combos by how many momentum charges we have. Chaining combos isn't just for combat, though. When swinging an axe, a combo can increase our resource gains and harvest from several nodes at once. When using the building hammer, a combo can complete an entire group of structures in one tap. It's all about rhythm, and I feel like this mechanic makes a lot of the slower aspects of survival games much more involved and a lot more satisfying. Anyway, once you've got your materials, you can start slapping stuff together. Sorry, that's not quite correct. Before you can craft anything, you'll need to experiment with different material combinations at a workbench. It can be a little frustrating at times when something you think should work doesn't, but overall I really like the sense of accomplishment that comes from figuring out a new recipe on your own. The building system is pretty solid overall, and includes some great editing tools like the ability to delete structures and toggle snapping on and off, as well as switching to manual snapping where the player can adjust where a building piece snaps to another one. The style of building models are really neat too, with a mix of open-air, cottagecore, and maritime designs. We don't start out knowing how to build much more than a few basic structures though, and to learn more we need to explore and find knowledge stones hidden away on other islands, or use our sketchbook to draw a blueprint from a structure we find. Personally, I love this concept. Too many times in a survival game I've seen a cool structure somewhere and been like, oh man, I would love to build that into my base. Well, here you literally can, for the most part. It costs valuable paper to sketch new items, but this encourages exploration and discovery, both to obtain more paper and to find new structures for making your base even cooler. Plus, it makes you feel like an explorer taking notes on a past civilization. Since we're talking about exploration, there are two primary methods of getting between islands. The first is sky sailing. Not only can you build essentially wherever you please, but if you find a small island you're particularly fond of, you can build floaters, sails, and rudders to turn it into a skyship. These ship structures need to be placed carefully and calibrated according to wind and obstacles and their position on the island. The better placed a sail or floater is, the more lift or propulsion it will provide. Heavier islands will require more power to move, and therefore more sails. Sailing around the very island your house is built on is a really bizarre but super cool take on the mobile base aspect. But the real reason you're all here, I bet, is for the gliders. After building a glider stand at our base, we can craft, modify, and customize a back-mounted frame glider. From the looks of things, there will be different frames, shapes, and materials to swap out to improve or augment our gliders. Of course, there's also some really sweet color combinations and patterns to customize your glider to your liking, and the flight controls are super tight. Being able to snap open your glider and soar between islands feels super liberating. The transition between first-person and third-person view is really smooth, and honestly, I can't stress enough how good the flying feels. The speed and smoothness of our characters' movements makes it feel sort of like a game that would encourage parkour-style traversal. The one issue with that is that even the large islands don't have many obstacles or much space to run on. Also, the large amount of open space between islands means most of our glider maneuvering is just gaining speed in a straight line, which can get a bit dull. Parkour-style movement seems to make even more sense when you realize how well it pairs with the glider and the combat system. For a survival crafting game, Aloft offers a surprisingly diverse set of combat moves the player can make use of. Of course, there's the rhythm factor of timing your combos, but we can also block attacks, dodge, shove enemies back, and perform skill moves like lunging at an enemy and dragging them up into the air with you. Chaining these different moves together, like carrying an enemy into an aerial combo before slamming them into their pals on the ground, is super satisfying, and makes combat into punchy, fast-paced action that feels phenomenal. My only complaint is, I want more enemy variety. If there is a difference between the different mushroom people, I didn't see it, and the corruption nodes all function the same way too, so the opposing side of combat is still a bit basic. Now, I know I skimmed over the survival mechanics a bit, but they mostly concern material gathering, which I already covered. The other aspects are navigation, nutrition, and ecology. Navigation is a bit tough until you find a map table. Super cool design, by the way. But if I'm reading this map correctly, then the open world we're looking at here might be pretty huge. Nutrition is a bit bland still, though we can spice things up with a little cooking minigame. Aloft uses Valheim-style food slots where we get different buffs for a time depending on what we eat. Ecology is a bit more interesting, and after killing all the corruption nodes on an island, we need to restore its ecosystem by planting different seeds and cutting down dead trees. For every dull moment that would exist in a typical survival game, Aloft has an answer in the form of a neat game mechanic. Though the visual style is perhaps a bit derivative and lacking in variety, the world is still really gorgeous. And despite its general lack of storytelling, the freeform exploration and discovery makes me want to find out more anyway, assuming there's more to be found. This is a game that still hasn't shown its full hand just yet, but the unique mix of mechanics and super satisfying gameplay presents a really strong framework waiting to be fleshed out. I'm excited to see if this game can really be something special, but I'm just the voice in your head, so how are you feeling about Aloft? Do you think the emptiness of the world leaves a lot of room for exploration, or are you concerned that this could be another Void Train, where the emptiness is what we're stuck with? Do you like the inclusion of the rhythm mechanics, or are you more fond of the traditional survival grind? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you made it this far, leaving a like lets the algorithm know it's good, and helps me out a ton. If you want to see more, subscribing is the best way to support the channel and keep new videos coming your way, because I put out new reviews every single week. Thanks so much for listening to me today. You'll be hearing from me again real soon.